Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Today we are going to discuss about our next topic, that is file structure of Windows. Now, in the previous class, we talked about the desktop and various icons present on the desktop and the types of icons. Like these are system icons here. The Uzair Bashir referring to my name, which is basically the name of this PC, and then this PC as well as the network and recycle bin and the control panel. These are the system icons referring to things that we want to do with our system. Like if we want to change the settings of the system, so there is this control panel that will control everything, like the settings, like the time, date, applications, removal of applications, install, uninstall, etc. Similarly, we have this recycle bin that deals with the garbage, that any files or folders you delete will be present here, and the network. That means if this computer is connected with the internet, or it's on a LAN, that it will be represented here in this network icon. And then we have this PC referring to this machine. This was in our earlier generation of Windows, like the Windows NT 2000 or XP. This was represented as my computer. And then we have this Uzair Bashir, which refers to the user files, that is particularly this user. And if there are multiple users on this system, this folder will have the particular name of that user. So if we jump into this PC here, you'll see this window appears in front of you. This is called as a Windows Explorer, and as the name itself indicates, this is used to explore your Windows operating system. That means any files or folders that are present in this operating system, you can locate it through this Explorer. Now if you see that this Explorer is divided into certain portions, vertically and horizontally, and we'll talk about those first. Like first of all, if you see that there is this large portion, vertical portion, that divides this window into left and the right. If I would increase the size, you can see this clearly, that this portion and this portion here is called as the navigation part, navigation portion, navigation pane, and this is used to navigate in between particular files and folders. Now you see that this navigation pane will have this arrow like structure here, some pointing downwards and some pointing towards the right. Those icons which are open, that means we can see those with the contents of those icons, they are already down. That means this PC is pointing downwards, meaning that you can already see what's inside this PC. If I try to click on this, you'll see that this PC winds up, but it is still highlighted. You see this blue mark here. It means that you're currently in this, but here you cannot view its hierarchy. Hierarchy means seeing the files and folders in a parent-child relationship. Like this C drive is a child of this PC, D drive is a child of this PC, E drive and the Z drive. Similarly, if we open up this C drive, you'll see that it contains further folders which are actually subfolders of this drive, and which drive is sub is a child of this PC. So this hierarchical structure is what actually window follows in its files and folders. Like I can show you here in this picture. This is how it particularly looks like. Now we have this HDD at the top. Now this refers to the hard disk of this machine. Hard disk is a secondary storage device which is used to which contains the folders or the files that you save on your PC. Similarly, this HDD, you can further divide it into partitions. Now here I have shown only two partitions, that is the C drive and the D drive, and it can go up to E drive, F drive, etc. depending upon a particular choice of the user or the size of the hard disk, and it can go up to the Z drive, that is the Z drive. The partitions here are further divided into folders and files. This means a drive can contain a folder, which is also called as a directory, or it can contain a file. These are the only things that a drive can contain. Similarly, D drive, you will have for its own folders and directories or the files. Now, if we have another drive, we can have the same hierarchical pattern there. What's interesting here is that once you see these files which are part of the C drive, that means the files of this C drive are actually children of the C drive. That means they have a parent-child relationship. That means all the files here are a sub part of this drive. Similarly, if you have this C drive which contains certain folders and which in turn will have either a folder or a file in it, you can have this parent-child relationship going a level further, and it can go to many levels, approximately, if I remember, to more than 65,000 levels. So you can see that this structure that is following here is a child parent relationship in its own layers. For example, any folder here is a subchild of folder here, which is a child of the drive here, and this continues until you reach to the root of this tree. Now similarly, this pattern is followed here. What this does is that you will always know that this folder here will be present in this folder here, or any file in this folder is actually a child of this folder. So this similar pattern I can show you practically here. So if I'll close this, we'll go to this PC and we'll see that if I go to the C drive, which is basically this here refers to the drives. That means I showed in the earlier example that this is C drive, D drive, E drive, and Z drive. These are the four drives. And if I go into the C drive, I will get this contents of this C drive. Now see, this C drive contains certain folders, which is up to this point, because either this picture depicts the folder, or you have this description in type of in front of it, that is the file folder, which means it is a folder, and there are four files in it, and that can be viewed as shown here. The type of the item is a text document, or it is this kind of a file. Now if I jump further into some of the folder here, like here program files, I'll go into this folder and you'll see now I am in this folder, and there it contains only folders and there is no particular file in it. Now these are 31 items, and how can I be sure? You can look at this status bar here, and this status bar shows the total number of items here. That's why it's called as the status bar, because it shows the status of the window. Now you can also remember that this bar here is called as the status bar. Now if I jump into some other folder here, say suppose I go into this Intel folder here, it again contains certain folders and not a file, because here we have 8 items. And if I go into say this Wi-Fi, you'll see that there are around 5 folders here and 4 files. 4 files because they are all text documents, and they are all files, and this is shown here as 9 item, total of 9 items, and the one item has been selected out of this, which is of size 3.22 kbs. This is the status of the current item selected. So I can select this folder here, and it can show you that there are actually a 9 number of items, and one item has been selected here, because a folder does not particularly have any description in the status bar. Now you see here, this is called as an address bar, and in the address bar you will see what is actually the address of the current where you are standing actually. So I'm actually standing in a Wi-Fi folder, which is a child of Intel folder, and Intel in turn is a child of program files, which is in turn a child of C drive, and which is basically our PC. So you can compare it with this picture here. So here SDD, then we were in the C drive, and then we were in this program files, and then the Intel. So if you compare it here, so you were in this C drive, and then you went into this folder directory, that is Intel, and then you were here, and ultimately you were in this Wi-Fi. So this shows the address. If you click it here, you'll see that this address changed to what has been the traditional form of representing the address of any file or folder in Windows. So there is this C drive. Any drive is followed by this colon, which denotes that it is a kind of drive that you are in. So C drive slash program files means you are in C drive and it has a folder program files. Slash Intel means Intel is a part of a subchild of program files. And Wi-Fi, that means Wi-Fi is a part of it's a child of Intel, and Intel is a child of program files, and you are in actually the C drive. So anytime you can have that. We'll need these addresses later on. We will want to know about relative and absolute addresses. So this is called as an address bar. Now also this bar here is called as the title bar. This is called as a menu bar because it contains menus, and menus contain specific commands. They are grouped according to the functionality. Like if you have this view menu, so you will have all those functions that are related to the view, meaning how you view your icons is in this particular window. And above that we have something called as a title bar. This title bar contains the title of the window that is currently open. Suppose if I go to this, currently it is Wi-Fi because you are in the Wi-Fi folder, so the title of the window is Wi-Fi. So if we go into this PC, you'll see that the title will change. Similarly, if I go into some other folder, say program x86, you will see that the title changes to this particular folder. You can also view this here. Now as I told you that Windows, irrespective of different kinds of windows, like the window of an explorer or the window of an application here, you will have different kinds of stuff related to a specific window. But here you will see there are similarities as well, like these buttons here, these are similar to these buttons here. Then then certain information here, like we have this PC, but here you have the file name and the application name, and certain other other icons, like this save. You can save a file, but you cannot save a Windows Explorer. It's already there, so you cannot save it. Similarly, there is something this is called as a file ribbon, and you also have a status bar here in this Paint application, but this is something different from this status bar. There are similarities and there are differences as well, but the similarities of Windows, basic similarities of Windows remains the same, but rest of those change with the application. Now coming back to our window. So this is your Windows Explorer, this is your navigation pane, and this is your content pane. So whatever you click here, the contents of this are shown here. And if you want to directly jump onto some specific important folder, you can directly jump into that, and you will see that you will end up into the contents of that file. This is easy way of navigating through the important icons, important locations of your desktop. Anyways, for example, if there is this location, these locations are not present here because this portion contains only the most important of the locations. And there, in addition to these four drives, there is these specific folders which are meant for specific kind of files by default. It's not necessary that always those files will be present here, but Windows has actually a default location for that. For example, if you have a video, then all the videos will be present in this location by default, but you can change them anytime. Or applications can have their own folders for saving the contents of their if it's a video application, it may have a different folder for that. Pictures, So this is a folder where you will have all the pictures, music, downloads, documents, and this is the desktop of our machine. So this is all about this Windows Explorer, which is used to explore our Windows. Any files and folders that you will contain will be present here. Now the further description of our file system and the structure and the technical details of this, I think, will be covered in the next class. For now, I think we have covered enough of this Windows Explorer, and in the next class we will be actually looking into the technical details of like this file system here, the actual file system, understanding the file system and understanding the different kinds of files and folders. And that's all for today. Thank you.